Greetings and welcome to my channel. My name is John Gabriel. And so in today's video, I'm going to talk about a comment that was made by someone on the new calculus Discord channel. This person is important because he's a collaborator. He or she is a collaborator. And so what they write is not just some dimwit writing a comment. So he or she has obviously thought about these things. Anyway, so he made a comment, or she. The correct derivative is 100% precise. The mainstream derivative is 99.999 precise. Well, the thing that's wrong with that statement is that something is either precise or it's not. There's no middle ground. You can't say that it's almost right or somewhere in between, varying degrees. That's just nonsense. That is mainstream drivel, mathematics drivel. And then he says there was a GeoGebra applet that shows this, but he can't find it. So I think the one he's referring to is this one here, and I'll get back to it in a moment. And he says basically that video shows you can have different precisions, but that's not true. Okay, but I'll explain in a moment. So I've never made such a claim, okay? I've never made such a claim. The correct derivative is 100% precise, but the mainstream derivative is never correct. Okay, let's blow this up. The mainstream derivative is never correct unless imagined as some ultimate ratio which cannot exist except as a limit. And ironically, that limit is what the sequence of finite differences of non-parallel secant lines of the function f converges to, and is equal to a ratio of rise over run of the tangent line, provided that tangent line exists. So that is, there is no way. Did you get this? There is no way of finding the slope of a tangent line to a function f using a finite difference of a non-parallel secant line of f. What does that mean? It means that this very bullshit mainstream definition that you see here, right on the top here, is telling you that as these 2 points begin to come closer and closer together, that somehow this finite difference, okay, the one that you see here, will be equal to the derivative. That's absolute rubbish. It is 100% rubbish. Okay, and I'll explain why in a moment, because there is no finite difference in terms of f, okay, in terms of f, that will give you the slope of this tangent line, okay, this tangent line at this point. I tried to explain these things to that incredibly stupid moron called Andres Kasork. He's a PH or MS or PhD graduate of MIT, but he didn't get it. And there's a popular discussion, a debate in which I tried to explain these things. But MIT math department is full of incredibly stupid buffoons that have been peddling this drivel for a very long time. So now, what does all this mean? Okay, let's go through this slowly. So what these imbeciles of mainstream math are telling you is that you've got a function like this in f, and that you're taking different distances from x, as you see over here, and then suddenly, as soon as you get to f prime of x, which is, by the way, this is just a symbol, okay? So as soon as you get to this, suddenly this finite difference becomes an actual finite difference, which is rise over run. That's absolute poppycock. If you believe that, well, you're an idiot. There's no other way to tell you. Okay, it never becomes that. And why doesn't it become that? Because it doesn't even matter, by the way, if there's a tangent line at that point. It doesn't matter. And you'll see why now. So f prime of x doesn't exist as a ratio. Do you understand that? As this ratio. It doesn't. It's impossible. The only way you can imagine it is as a limit to which this finite different sequence converges to. Okay, that's the only way you can imagine it. It's an imaginary concept. And so the baboons of mainstream academia, math academia, imagine that an ultimate ratio, this rise over run, exists, and they try to justify their bullshit claims through hand waving arguments such as epsilonics, the epsilon delta arguments, which, by the way, they themselves don't fully understand. I mean, if you've ever sat in a real analysis or basic analysis class, as I have, and you have my intelligence, you'll pick up thousands of mistakes that these morons make in their lectures. They do not understand these concepts. They don't even understand the basics behind what this theory tells everybody. Okay. Now, I don't want to waste time on that drivel, so let me just get rid of that. And what I'm telling you right now is that there needn't even be a point there, by the way. As long as this function is continuous and, is smooth over this interval here, okay? As long as it's smooth over this interval, there doesn't even have to be a point there, because this finite difference does not exist at that point. Do you understand that? Why doesn't it exist at that point? Well, let me tell you why. Look. It doesn't exist because once you get to that point, what you have is something like this. Okay, is something like this, which gives you this utter drivel, 0 over 0. It's the kind of stuff that an incorrigible moron like Marcus Cliver will just repeat because his teacher told him that. His teacher told him limits are an essential part of calculus. That is a big lie, by the way. Limits are not required either for the derivative definition or for the integral definition. It's just that your math professors and teachers are absolute morons who've never understood mathematics or calculus. And I am here telling you that they're morons, okay? And one of the chief baboons who sits on top of the mainstream math trash heap is Professor Gilbert Strang, okay? That idiot who's been peddling drivel about the derivative and rates of change and instantaneous rates of change, which have nothing to do with calculus, by the way. Absolutely zero to do with calculus. Calculus is the study of slope and area or volume or hypervolume. And these here, by the way, are all products of arithmetic means, okay? Products of arithmetic means. How do I know this? Because I'm a genius. Why don't you know it? Because none of your moronic, stupid, jealous, pathologically ill math professors and teachers had been able to realize these things. That's why you don't know it. Okay, so now I'm going to give you some articles in the detail section that you can study, and you better study them, because the reasons you've been told calculus works are all wrong. They are 100% wrong. Okay. In other words, everything that your math lecturer has told you, that your teacher has told you, is absolute trash. They don't understand calculus. They don't even understand the basic concept of number. They don't understand that. And why? Because they've never understood where number comes from. Geometry. Can you believe that there are schools which don't even teach geometry anymore? You cannot understand mathematics unless you have a profound understanding of geometry. Geometry is 100% sound. It's not like algebra and real analysis and set theory and all the drivel that you spend months learning at university, and your parents end up placing themselves into debt, or you get into debt because of these high priests of mainstream math academia who are struggling to retain their tenures. They're very evil people, by the way, and I don't care if they're sincere or not. They're still evil because they need to admit they're wrong. Now, let's just see what happens here. So what they'll give you typically is something like this. They'll say for all epsilon, and by the way, epsilon is a function of delta and vice versa. I don't care what anybody tells you, and I've proved this, and I can give you an article to that as well. such that there exists a delta greater than 0, so that for all x, this finite difference here, this absolute distance between x and a, says that this absolute distance is less than epsilon. Basically, what it says is that you can get very close to the point without actually being on the point. Can you believe that? That's all it says. That's all it says to you. Because if you get to the point, boom, like that. Hang on. Oops, look. This thing is no longer defined. Okay, if you get to the point. See that? 6.25 minus 6.25. 0 over 0 is no longer defined. That's what this mainstream cancerous bullshit is. And the person behind this is that fucking moron, Augustin Louis Cauchy, that Frenchman, that idiot Frenchman who came up with these pathetic ideas. Okay. He's the one who gave you this absolute rot that doesn't work, by the way, and that most real analysis lecturers do not understand. I will place lots of links in the first comment of this video. And so, to use this definition, you imbeciles, you need to know the value of L. L is the derivative. You incorrigibly stupid fools. L is the derivative, you morons. You cannot use it in its own definition. You cannot say, oh, it's okay to guess it and then verify it. No, you cannot do that. And you know what the strange thing is, people, is that I gave these bastards a solution. And the solution, which I gave them, is my historic geometric theorem, which is this. Okay? It's this. It says this. It's still not as elegant as a new calculus, by the way. It's not nearly as elegant, and it doesn't work seamlessly with the integral like the new calculus does. But using this definition, you have your derivative. Here it is. This derivative is just simply this minus this, or just the expression that you get when you simplify this quotient, okay? And the integral is just simply h times the arithmetic mean. Did you know that this is an arithmetic mean, or more accurately called a level magnitude? Because an arithmetic mean has nothing to do with the middle of anything or relative position. Yes, that's right. I did say that. There's no mistake in that. Okay, so and Q of XH, by the way, is not an error term, you incorrigibly stupid morons. It is the slope difference. So if you have a tangent line like that and a non-parallel secant line, it's the slope difference between this line and this line. That's what this expression here is. And this is all described in my historic geometric theorem, which, by the way, the pathologically jealous fools try to assert is the same as that incredibly garbage lemma, they call it, the fundamental increment lemma. It's actually the fundamental excrement lemma. It's got nothing to do with this, by the way. Absolutely nothing. This is totally different. And this has nothing to do with limits. There's nothing about limits in this expression. Never was. Okay. Now, when you come back here to this diagram, you'll see that in order to find L, you have to use that definition. So suddenly L becomes the derivative. It becomes the limit of this. So it's used in its own definition. If you're a math professor watching this, sit up straight, you fucking moron, and pay attention. Now you see H. Here, you see H here, and now you don't. Boom, H is gone. Listen, I know better than you. I am a genius. You're a moron, and I'm a genius. And I'm telling you these things because you're making life miserable for students worldwide, and you're confusing them. Now, in the new calculus, this is always accurate, okay? Always accurate, because we don't even care if this is defined, at the point of tangency. It doesn't have to be, because we calculate the derivative in terms of a parallel secant line, okay? So it's always accurate. Watch this value down here, this 1.74822, okay? It doesn't change no matter where I am. It's accurate, 100% accurate. This value is never accurate. It's drivel, okay? It's Newton playing around in the dark. He didn't know what he was doing. I know what I'm doing, but Newton was inferior to me in intelligence, just like all of you are. Okay, I'll place links to all of these If you're not already a subscriber to my channel, click like and become a subscriber because you'll still have access to the videos, the free videos on this channel. But you will not have access to the members only channel, and you can only get that by pressing this join button. Okay. What are the benefits of this? Well, you get to see what's in this members only room. Okay. It's not for your eyes, by the way. It's for members only. It will cost you €5 a month to join the members channel. I have to earn a living, by the way. If you come here, make sure you click like I've just done right now, and do join because there's much information that I've never shared with the public, which I've started to share gradually with the members that are in this channel. In other words, it's information that is written out very professionally, very carefully, without any foul language like I'm using in my videos, because I'm hoping that a lot of mainstream math professors and their sycophant followers are watching these videos. I'm talking about zealous Malins, Jean-Pierre Massages, and all the other driveling, sniveling morons who watch my videos. This is for them. So when I use foul language, it's not directed at you generally, but at them and their teachers and lecturers. Okay, so now that's pretty much it. And if you haven't already joined this Discord channel, you should. I'm showing you a part of a channel that's not normally available to people who are not members. This part here, okay? So what you have to do is you have to pass a 10-question test. And if you get 10 out of 10, and you are given study material. If you get 10 out of 10, you're allowed to join the Discord. It's not easy, but you can do it if you really are interested in learning mathematics. So I'm going to leave it at that. I'm John Gabriel, and this is New Calculus Channel. Till next time, goodbye.